What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets with Rob. How's everybody doing? Before I get started talking about Theo Epstein out as a potential candidate for president of baseball operations, guys, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you enjoy all my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos, and want to go live, hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Alright, guys, so if you have not heard all the rumors, all the sources about Steve Cohen and Theo Epstein meeting today, we have bad news. Unfortunately, according to multiple sources, and we'll get into all the sources and what each source said about the Cohen and Epstein meeting, Theo Epstein has decided to not take the offer from Steve Cohen as president of baseball operations for the New York Mets. Many reasons why. We will also go over the reasons why. But unfortunately, that is what happened between Cohen and Theo Epstein. Unfortunately, for us Met fans, about 98% of us wanted Theo Epstein to be the president of baseball operations for our New York Mets, guys. It is a gut punch to me, personally, because I thought it was a no-brainer. Now, it seemed like there was nothing that Cohen could have done, or whatever reason, or way, or possibility there was for Cohen to get Theo Epstein to come on board with this Mets organization. It seems like there was nothing he could do. But before we get into the sources, what are the reasons why Theo Epstein didn't even probably think about or take the opportunity to become the president of baseball operations for the New York Mets? Number one, was it money? I don't think money was a big problem in this situation with Cohen and Epstein. I think if Cohen really wanted him and Theo was only interested in money, I think Cohen would have gave him probably what he wanted. So the first reason, money, I think that is out. Number two, second reason, does Theo Epstein want to stay in the Major League Baseball front office to better the game, so to speak, as he said in multiple quotes over the last couple of weeks? Maybe. But a guy who took two historic franchises, who hasn't won a World Series in 100 years and took them to the promised land and win multiple championships with the Red Sox and a championship with the Cubs, seems like a guy that probably would do anything possible to beat the odds in Major League Baseball. So if it comes to rules, comes to bettering the game, however he's going to do that in the MLB offices, I don't think that's the main focus and the main reason why he would not take this position with the Mets. The third reason, and I think one of the most important reasons, is that I think Theo Epstein is putting together a group to be a partnership of owner in a Major League Baseball team. I think that is very key. I don't think Cohen was willing to give any type of ownership to Theo Epstein to come on board as president of baseball operations. And I cannot blame Cohen. If I own something, I don't want to give a piece of the pie to somebody so they can just work for me. Doesn't work like that. And I don't think anybody should be mad at Steve Cohen for not wanting to do that. Not that that was talked about between Theo and Steve Cohen. I think it was just not on the table. But there's been rumors that Theo Epstein wants to be have partnerships in ownership in on a Major League Baseball team. So it just seems to me that that third reason is one of the biggest reasons why he did not take this job. Money isn't the issue, and MLB front office position is not the issue. I think number three is one of the biggest issues. He wants to be some type of part owner of a Major League Baseball team. Which, a guy who's done everything that he can possibly do as an executive in a Major League Baseball team, organization, the next step is basically better in the game or becoming some type of owner, a partnership owner of a Major League Baseball team. But there is one more thing and one more reason why I think Theo Epstein didn't even probably give a second look to this position with the Mets. And that's because, does Theo Epstein look at the Mets and say they are too dysfunctional to touch, to put his hands on it, to ruin his reputation, that he has a great reputation? Could he ruin his own reputation by taking this position with the Mets and failing and not doing a good job? Even if he tries to do everything he can, but the Mets don't get the World Series, they don't make the playoffs multiple years in a row, he fails. That will tarnish his record. Even though it's a great resume, it would tarnish what he's done. And if I was him, I wouldn't want to risk that. Why would you? And I understand that when it comes to Theo Epstein. But as a Met fan, as a guy who wanted Theo Epstein, it is a gut punch, guys. It is tough to take. And I think those 4 reasons is probably one of them, maybe 2 of them, is the reason why Theo Epstein is not going to be a part of this Mets organization. And that sucks, because we know the other options: David Stearns of the Brewers and Billy Beane of the Oakland A's. That is really tough, guys, and I'm not happy at all, because it seems like everything's leading towards Billy Beane. And that's something that I'm not very happy about. And that is worrisome to me. And that's where we're probably going to be headed. Because I don't think David Stearns is going to leave the Brewers. Why would he? There's not a lot of pressure on him. He's doing well. He's doing a great job in Milwaukee. Why leave? To take the same position? Makes no sense. So there's one guy left, Billy Beane. Maybe there'll be other candidates, but we really haven't heard other candidates besides David Stearns, Billy Beane, and Theo Epstein. We haven't heard anybody else. So it seems like Billy Beane is probably the favorite for the president of baseball operations for the New York Mets. But to get into the sources and to show you exactly all the sources that's been talking about this, the baseball writers, Andy Martino, Joe Sherman, and John Heyman. All these guys, we're going to start off with Joel Sherman, who basically had all this information first. So when we look at it right here, Joel Sherman tweets, Epstein was the logical first place for the Mets to go. Not only because of his credentials, but because he was not affiliated with a team and no permission was needed to speak to him. His removal, though, takes out a potential heavyweight for the president of baseball operations job. Again, Joel Sherman tweets, heard Steve Cohen and Theo Epstein had a conversation and decided that this would not be the right opportunity for Epstein. Who thought it wouldn't be the right opportunity? You would think it would be Epstein, because Cohen actually made the effort to talk to Epstein, so he clearly wanted him. So he is out as a possible head of baseball operations for the Mets. So that is Joel Sherman, who had this information first. Then we're going to go with John Heyman. Right here he says, Theo and Cohen are said to have a good conversation, but decided the time and fit aren't right. The time and fit, I don't understand what that exactly means. What was Theo looking for, and what was Cohen willing to give? There's a lot of things that can be a good fit and a good timing. So that's a little bit of an odd quote, odd phrase by John Heyman. Theo is committed to help an MLB on-field decisions and ultimately desires to be part of a putting together an ownership group. Word is Mets still may have a legit shot at Beane. So that right there, when you see with John Heyman, says it right there. His desire to put together an ownership group for a Major League Baseball team, and his desire to be in the MLB front office about the on-field decisions. So that's what John Heyman tweeted not too long ago. Then we go to Andy Martino when he tweeted, and he said, Theo Epstein will not be coming to the Mets. A source familiar with the situation tells me Steve and Theo spoke. They had a good conversation and both agreed that this was not the right opportunity. I don't understand exactly right opportunity. I'm assuming with each one of Joel Sherman, John Heyman, and Andy Martino's tweets, all goes into the fact of reason number 3. He wanted probably some type of ownership in the Mets, and Cohen was not willing to give that. And that's his prerogative. He is the owner. He does not have to do that. Why would you give partial ownership to somebody who they would be working for you? It doesn't seem... I know that Billy Beane has that situation with Oakland, and there's other probably presidents as well that has partner ownership with a Major League Baseball club, but it's not common enough to have Cohen do that, and I don't expect him to do that. So that seems like reason number 3. Theo Epstein probably wanted partial ownership of the Mets. With the full story when it came to Andy Martino on SNY, Andy Martino of SNY reports that Theo Epstein and Steve Cohen recently spoke, and the former Cubs and Red Sox executive has decided he won't be joining the Mets. Epstein, now working for the Major League Baseball, was the number 1 target as they hope to reel in a big fish to run president of baseball operations. Epstein helped erase long World Series drought for the Red Sox and Cubs. Obviously, Andy Martino is not saying anything that is new. Now that Epstein can be crossed off the list, Billy Beane is the figures to be high on the Mets list of people they want. David Stern of the Brewers is another name that the Mets would certainly like to enter, though they were denied the chance last offseason by the Milwaukee Brewers. Last month, I was told that the Mets were unlikely to land anyone from the trio. That's interesting right here, guys. Epstein, Beane, and Stearns, and they've gotten their first no. So, where was this information about it's unlikely that they would not land any of these 3 guys? But that's the only 3 guys we heard over, the last year and a half? I just don't understand it. So that tells me right here is that are the Mets going to be holding the ball in this situation and lose out on big fish that can run president of baseball operations? Are we going to have a hard time finding somebody? That's scary, guys. But as of right now, we got our first no, and it's from the one guy that most of us wanted to be the president of baseball operations, and that is Theo Epstein. He emphatically said no, guys, and that's a bummer. Multiple sources, Andy Martino, Joel Sherman, and John Heyman, all had similar stories about Theo Epstein and Steve Cohen meeting, but decided that it wasn't a right fit. Whoever's decision that ultimately was, I'm leaning towards more Theo Epstein. Theo Epstein will not be the next president of baseball operations for the New York Mets, so the hunt goes on, guys. Guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you enjoy all my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Let me know in the comments what you think, guys. Do you think the Mets even have a shot at David Stern and Billy Beane? Who do you think is the best option that's left? Let me know in the comments, guys. If you have any other names that haven't been said that you might think about, throw it up in the comments and we can talk about it, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.